And so here we are at the Ballan RSL meeting. That's Michaela Settle, our local MP, just passing by. It's probably the wettest afternoon parade that the Ballan RSL have had for a while. The last few years it's been wet or cold in the morning and the sun has shone for the parade. We've just been advised that rain is due to stop here at 1 p.m, which is when the parade is due to start. Local residents taking shelter under these wonderful canopies that abound throughout the town. A few more horses this year. I think we had one lone donkey last year. There's at least 4 mounts today, and the Creswick brass band with their wet attire on. That's the whistle, the parade's about to start. And they're off. Bit of mace action there from the drum major from the Dalesford brass band. It's about the only bit of mace action we see from him today. The roads may be just a little bit too slippery for him. Half the band on their wet with their gear, half of them braving the elements. Followed by the Mount Egerton Light Horse. This is a resurrection of the Creswick Light Horse that founded during COVID, and now from a couple of locals in Mount Egerton. We've got 5 of them in the parade today, followed by a representative of the Red Cross and the Essential Sweeper Upper. The Ballan Scout Troop, carrying flags of New Zealand, Australia in the front, and of the Commonwealth nations who fought in the Great War, along with the flag of the United States. And here are the gentlemen from the Ballan RSL, those and ladies who've served country. Our politicians Sam Ray, Michaela Settle, local councillors Ali Manari and Mayor Paul Tatchell. This is probably the 4th ANZAC celebration that they've been to today. Ladies from the local nursing home, along with the Red Cross, members of the local country fire authority, the local fire brigade. They'd be used to the water, and children from our local primary schools, from Gordon Primary School, Ballan Primary School, Mount Egerton Primary School, and here we have the children from St Bridget's School, Ballan. Well, we thought that the rain would be ending about now, but now we hear it's going to be here for some time.
We stand here this afternoon on Wadawurrung and Wurundjeri land. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the country that we're on and recognise their continuing connection to the land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to elders past and present. Can you all hear me? Yep. We're going to whiz through this. Be the quickest service you ever been to. I reckon it's 5 minutes. What do you reckon? Then back down to rum. Yeah? So, veterans, serving ADF members, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and horses, donkeys, riders, and naval bridging train personnel of the Ballan Light Horse Troop. My name is Pippa. I'm the president of the Ballan RSL Sub-Branch, and on behalf of the RSL, I welcome you to this fabulous day and to our Ballan Cenotaph service. Today we commemorate 110 years since the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, the ANZACs, landed on the beaches of Gallipoli, and we stand here together on this Central Highlands afternoon to remember. And we're not alone in this. On this day across Australia and New Zealand, and in many places overseas, including where Australian and New Zealand military personnel are serving, people are meeting together to remember. ANZAC Day services, whether the dawn service where people gather together in the pre-dawn, or as we are now, in daylight, surrounded by our comrades and neighbours, have a solemnity and poignancy peculiar to themselves. No other event in Australia or New Zealand carries as much meaning and reverence, and it's right and proper that we take a moment to reflect upon the horrors of Gallipoli as servicemen and women did during the first ANZAC Day service on the Western Front in 1916. But ANZAC Day also allows us an opportunity to remember not only the ANZACs, but all Australian and New Zealand servicemen and women who served in places like Tobruk, along the Kokoda Track and the Burma Railway. We remember all those who fought at sea and those who gave their all in fierce air battles over Europe and the Pacific. We remember the freezing mountains of Korea, the steamy jungles of Vietnam, the deserts of Iraq, and the rugged terrain of Afghanistan. We also remember the thousands of prisoners of war who suffered during these conflicts. As we meet together on this special day, during our collective silence and also in our personal silences, let us not forget the more than 103,000 Australians and the more than 30,000 New Zealanders who have lost their lives in service to their country. Let us also remember the many, many, many more thousands who have served and who carry lifelong injuries because of their service. Especially, let us remember those who served from this district, those who are named on the cenotaph here, those that are named on the honour boards around about the place, and those who aren't named here. But let us remember them, and particularly remember those from this district who did not come home. It's finding up, is it? We also remember the Central Highlands families and communities which have been forever altered by the consequences of war, peacekeeping and peacetime operations. Of course, the original ANZACs have all gone now, and with their passing, the ANZAC Day tradition has evolved. Today, alongside our Australian and New Zealand veterans and our current serving men and women, we embrace and remember our Commonwealth brothers and sisters, that is, those who served with us from the United Kingdom, from Canada, from India, from Malaya and South Africa, and we remember our allies, particularly those from France and the United States. It's an honour to put on our country's uniform and to stand as a shield against our country's enemies. And those who have done so, and those who are doing so today, do not begrudge the sacrifices required to do their duty. So on this symbolic day, in this special place, to the fallen and the returned, we offer our thanks and remembrance, lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
I now call upon our primary schools to do their presentations. So first up we have Gordon Primary School. Is Gordon here?
We are gathered here today to remember the ANZACs who fought in several wars involving Australia and our allies. Wars unfortunately not involve soldiers and those defending and representing their countries, but also civilians and nurses.
An important and sometimes forgotten member of the ANZACs are the nurses. We should remember them as much as any other soldiers who sacrificed their lives for peace. These nurses helped retrieve exceptionally wounded soldiers. This was done on the Greek island of Lemnos. An example is a soldier named Lawrence Cornelli, who was injured when his ship was bombed at Greece. The soldier, who happens to be my great-great-grandfather, was lucky enough to be picked up by a Regulus boat. He was part of the 21st Battalion, who supported and relieved the 8th Battalion. Involved in the Battle of Lone Pine, my great-great-grandfather was one of the lucky ones to return home and tell the stories of his family in country Victoria.
The Nazis set up a military hospital on the Greek island of Lemnos. The conditions were very poor. As patients arrived, they were met by diseases, overcrowding, unsanitary conditions, and high winds blowing at the mateship hospital. Australia would not have been my existence today if it wasn't for these wonderful and brilliant nurses. Let's leave it down.
We now ask the Murnion Primary School to come up and presentation.
Hi, my name is Hunter.
And my name is Holly, and we are here representing Murnion Primary School.
Today we'll be talking about the hardships endured by the Australian and New Zealand troops during the Gallipoli campaign.
On 25th of April 1915, Australian and New Zealand troops landed at the Gallipoli Peninsula.
Our soldiers endured lack of water and food, disease, and the constant threat of death by artillery shells and sniper shot.
The food rations were very small and consisted of tinned beef and hard biscuits and jam. There were lots of flies, so the beef was rampant. Our soldiers suffered dysentery and typhoid.
Gallipoli consisted of steep slopes and rocky terrain, and the soldiers lived in trenches which were extremely uncomfortable and unsanitary.
The weather could be unbearably hot. The soldiers spent time digging trenches and carrying supplies, all while living in the constant threat of death and typhoid. This had a terrible effect on their mental health.
Australian and New Zealand troops were evacuated from Gallipoli in January 1916 after over 11,000 deaths.
We may have raised soldiers for the service who will never forget them. Thank you.
These guys deserve a big round of applause. We'd now like to invite people to come up and lay wreaths. Before I start calling out those who have got their wreaths on the table, there were 2 wreaths put on the memorial before we started this morning. If those people would like public acknowledgement, if they could come forward, otherwise we'll go on with the other wreath laying. Okay, so we'll start with the first wreath from Ballan RSL for all service members. Ballan RSL affiliate members. RSL Commonwealth Forces. You may have gathered we're a few short because of the weather. Ballan RSL representing the New Zealand forces. Ballan Light Horse Troop. The Honourable Mayor of Moorabool Shire, Paul Tatchell, representing residents of Moorabool. Michaela Settle. Sam Ray. Ballan Primary School. St Bridget's Primary School. Primary School. Gordon Primary School. Mount Edgerton Primary School. St Patrick's School. Alex Group. Ballan Fire Brigade. Ballan CWA, I think your name got washed off. Neighbourhood House and Steptoe's Pop Shop. Medical care staff and residents. The Bainbridge family. The Parslow family. In memory of Private James Henry Bond. In memory of James Lawson. The Red Cross Society. St Patrick's Gordon. There is one more on my list that falls to me to actually lay. Before I do that, is there anyone present who has a wreath that they would like to lay on the memorial? Please come forward. Last and not least, on behalf of the Ballan subgroup of Ballarat Legacy, and that is me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honour of moving on now into the more formal part of today's ceremony, and as I said, I have the honour of reading the ode. If you're capable of standing, could you please be upstanding? Gentlemen, despite the rain, I'd ask you, unless you're in uniform, please remove your hats. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. Lest we forget.
I do ask, we have a treat for us today. St Patrick's School has put together a choir to lead us in the singing of the national anthem. So could I ask the choir to come up, and the band will play, and we'll have a nice rousing chorus.
Rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth full. Our land is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page of every state, advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. That was really good. We've come to the end of the service, so I'd like to thank our special guest for braving it today. Also the Dalesford Community Brass Band. Good job. The Ballan Light Horse Troop. And all the veterans who are here, and all of you. We appreciate you coming out today. Now we invite you back to the RSL for afternoon tea. The award-winning CWA have put on the afternoon tea. We can't provide you with towels, but you're quite welcome to come and drip all over the floor for an hour or so. Right. But that concludes our service, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and see you next year.